All right, we are back. I wanted to talk about planning as far as rallies go. I had mentioned that in the previous video. I was going to get a little bit more detail with that. So, planning these, we're not going to, we already talked about booking in general. So, you've got to decide how involved your rally is going to be. Is it you get a few people, you're kind of chilling out, not doing that much, or you got people you're going to a destination and you're going to be doing things. So I mean, you can have some places that you go to that there's just piles of things to go, and you got to choose, what it is you're going to be able to do. Those are good locations to maybe do follow-on rallies. We've gone to my wife and I we've gone to Acadia, I think 8 times. 4 or 5 of those times have been rallies, and of those 4 or 5 times, I think we hosted probably at least 2 or 3 of them. And anyway, up there, and a bunch of families. Now, the groups that we were with, we didn't have to do too much with planning because we had been up there a number of times. People already had a good idea of what was in the area, what was available, and they already had kind of in mind sort of what they wanted to do. And we also were talking, as a group, because we're looking forward to the conversation would come up, during the year leading up to the rally, which reminds me something else. I'll mention it here in a minute. We're sending emails back and forth, or when this is on forums. Also, the forums aren't really that active anymore, some may, but just not the way they used to be. We'd get together and plan on doing different things, whether it's a hike or an activity or something, and make sure that everybody knew that we were doing that, so as many people could get involved with it as wanted to, that they weren't surprised. We show up and then, hey, tomorrow we're doing this. It's, oh well, I was doing X. So they involved. You know what? I'm just going to stick with Acadia for an example, because that's what comes to mind. So we had an evening where we had, usually in the middle of the week, like Wednesday or Thursday, we had our big seafood dinner. And we can get into that. We had a day where we had hiking that was planned, and certain hikes, because some were long, some were very long. One of the members of our group had been going to Acadia for, I think it was 11 years, 10 or 11 years, and had finally done all the trails in Acadia, and he was getting ready to get them go do them again. So I'll never. I like hiking, but I'll never reach that point where I'm going to do all of Acadia. But I've done enough of it to say that I'm pretty happy with what I have done. I don't have any regrets. So we'll get things set up as far as the key things we want to do, and we'll set those things up. Now, for us, we did not want to regiment everything. So, at 9 o'clock we're doing this, and 11 o'clock we're doing that, and 1 o'clock we're doing this, and whatever. Some people like that type of organization and clockwork type of thing. Others don't, and they kind of want it like a free-form type of vacation. And for some people, that's what it is. It's a vacation. Especially if you got families, so they need to make the most of it as possible. And if you got kids and running all the time, they can get tired and cranky. And then if you got older people, they'll get tired and cranky. So gauge the crowd that you have, and what you're doing. So plans made ahead of time. We'll put these key things that everybody can build around. They know that. On Wednesday at 6 o'clock, we're doing the big seafood dinner, and everybody is doing some part of it. So people got to be back at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we're getting ready, so it's 6 o'clock. We're doing the dinner. Otherwise, it's chaos, and you're not eating until 8 or 9 o'clock, and it's a mess. So, if you've ever planned for a group, everything needs to start a good amount of time prior, so that everybody ends up at the same place at the same time. Hopefully. So, and we do some of that prep work ahead of time. So, in building that schedule around this, and depending on the number of people you have, you can set up schedules. Now, we like to put up a whiteboard, and we had markers, and on that whiteboard had, let's say that you were planning on taking a hike up the precipice in Acadia, and you're going to do that on Tuesday morning. And if you didn't mind people coming along with you, or you wanted people to go along with you, you could put that up on the whiteboard, what time you were leaving the campground. People would get in touch with you, you'd all organize it and go out as a group. That works out very, very well. We also, one of the things people like to do is see the sunrise at Cadillac. Now, from my experience, in order to get up there and be ready for this, you're leaving the campground that we stayed at is Smuggler's Den. We're leaving Smuggler's Den no later than 4:45 in the morning. Some people have a hard time getting up at 9, let alone 4:45. So having a chance to talk to people and say, hey, look, we got to leave at 4:45. We can't wait for you. And you can't. And now these days it's even a little bit more complicated. Before, we would leave at 4:45, and it would take 15, 20 minutes in order to get up to the road leading up into the Cadillac Mountain. And then you got to get up to the top, you got to get parked, and then out, onto the rocks or whatever in order to be able to see the sunrise when it comes up. So if you're leaving the campground late, let's say you leave the campground 5:30, you're probably not going to find a place to park. My experience is it gets very, very, very full very, very fast. So knowing those things ahead of time and making those plans ahead of time and making sure that people are on board and they understand that is very important. Especially when you've got areas that tend to be very busy, like Acadia, the Park Loop Road and Bar Harbor. Things can get very, very busy. So it's good to know your way around. It's good to know, where to go and how to get there with minimizing difficulties, traffic and people and whatever. And there are secrets. There are places to go and places to park where most people don't go. And even this guy with his big red Ford F-350 dually, I've never had a problem parking. I'm not giving it up either. So, anyway, so making the plans and making sure everybody's on board and whatever is a great way to get things done and getting the biggest bang for your buck, but also making sure that everybody's on the same page. You have to have a little bit of structure with it, because if you don't, then you inevitably run into problems. So, what I meant to bring up beforehand with Cadillac Mountain and schedules and times and stuff is now you have to have a pass in order to get into the Park Loop Road. They're managing the amount of people that actually come in. So if you're going to Acadia and you want to do the Park Loop Road, Thunder Hole, all these different great places, and they are wonderful. And they really needed to do the traffic control with this, because it was getting out of control. People parking, wherever, and there's pedestrians everywhere. You got to be careful driving around there. So having the passes ahead of time for a particular day, particular time, like Cadillac Mountain, if you want to go up to Cadillac Mountain, you got to buy a ticket, and there's a time. You have a time period for that ticket to go up. It doesn't tell you when you need to come down, I don't think, but you have a specific time that you go up, and now there is a a guard shack, a ranger station at the bottom, Cadillac Mountain, that didn't used to be there, and they're looking at those passes. So you need to have them. And while I'm on that subject, as far as planning goes, if you're going to be holding rallies and they're going to be near national parks and that sort of thing, don't forget, veterans, you can apply for your park pass, and it's free. So you don't have to pay the park pass entry fees anymore. You are able to go in for free. And you know what? I think that's a nice thing for this country to do for their service members to be able to go and visit our national parks and not have to pay for it. So that's it doesn't cost all that much, but you know what? It's a couple of bucks saved, and I appreciate it. So thanks, Uncle Sam. All right. So I don't think there's too much more I want to get into about scheduling. But I do think I want to cover, just again, to go over, if you got a few people, there's not a lot going on. It's not that complicated. Once you start getting into a group of people and you have different age groups and stuff, make sure you're considering them, especially people that have special needs, may not be able to do things that others are doing. Keep them in mind and try to go ahead and have something else going on too, if you're the one scheduling them. And make sure that if there's the opportunity to go and see something that is, high desire, that you look ahead and see that maybe you can get tickets at a group rate or some other discount for a group. Those have worked very well for us in the past. But if you like the video, please hit the like button. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'd love to have them. So nice to meet with you again. We're going to do another segment on this, and we're going to get into where to go, how to get in, and how to plan ahead on it. See ya.